Whew. Let's go over here. Oh, this has cleared up nicely. See, Tony is... Oh, I see bubbles coming up, so he's definitely moving right there. He's down there somewhere, underneath that big pile of logs. But man, look how clear this is now. Once I got the biofalls running, this thing really cleared up. Now it's pretty much crystal clear. Still a lot of leaves and stuff on the bottom, but I actually like that. I like to have kind of a natural bottom in these ponds. I think it looks weird and unnatural if that stuff's not in there. And you can see, look at all the snails. Just snails everywhere in here. So right off the bat, I see a lot of pond snails. Some ram's horns. There goes a bullfrog tadpole. Lots of tadpoles in here. I think I need to introduce maybe some fish into here. I'm trying to think of a good fish that would do well in here, like maybe like a spotted gar or something. The tricky thing with fish and inside this pond is the skimmer box. I did have fish in here initially when I first built this thing, and they were like some small sunfish, and they ended up going into the skimmer, and so I don't really want that to happen again. So I guess I'll have to figure out a way to either keep them from going in the skimmer or get a fish that is big enough that if it goes in there, it can power its way back out, or I don't know. I'll have to talk to somebody that's an expert on that stuff. Lots of evaporation going on, so this is actually a little lower than it normally is, but I think we're going to get some more rain again soon. It's done this thing where it rained and then got really cold and windy, and so that caused a lot of evaporation. Hey Bob, thanks for gifting those memberships. Appreciate that. See if I can catch up on the comments. Thank you, Reese's Aquatics. I'm doing my best, man. I've got a lot to balance these days. Yeah, so for members, I posted, I think, last week. So when I make my YouTube videos, there's a lot that I film that kind of ends up more or less on the cutting room floor. Like stuff I just take out for time and relevance. But I think instead of letting those clips kind of sit and never be seen again, maybe what I'm going to start doing is just uploading those so that members can kind of see some extra content that didn't necessarily make the cut, but might be still entertaining or fun to watch. So got a cooter right here. It was cold last night, so everybody's kind of slowly coming up, doing some basking, getting around a little bit. I posted a short. I actually saw my loggerhead that lives in here. I hardly ever see him because he's so small. He actually lives like way up into all these rocks and stuff and like a little tiny cave system. So when he wants to hide, I mean, you're not going to see him. Like, it's just how it is. But yeah, some of the hair algae is starting to kind of cycle out, which is normal. So this will actually start to kind of eventually break apart and, you know, and if you let it do the cycle, you actually get like cleaner, clearer water. It's kind of a normal part of it. Like, I love how clear it is up in here. And there's a lot of snails in this one too. And this one has different kinds of snails. You can see one right there. That's called an Olemia snail. And I think those live a little bit longer and they have like a more heavy duty calcified shell. You'll see those in like mountain streams and the springs and stuff in Florida. Let's see if anybody's hiding under here. Nobody today. And it's sunny enough. The salamander larvae that are in here, I think typically try to avoid the sun. Let's see. This part's really heavily full of the hair algae, but this is also the wetland. So this is where like kind of all those nutrients are coming up. So all that algae is actually feeding on that. But as that comes through there and all that stuff's fed on, it just spits out like a bunch of really clean and clear water. Got some plants coming up. Classic spring. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got a little alligator snapper over here in the alligator snapper tub. This is all the hatchlings that I hatched out. So this is from, I think, a year ago, or yeah, something like that. So, and this is like a plant root mass. So these guys just kind of get in here and blend in perfectly. And it's, you know, all black water. Look, there's one right there. You can see him. He's sitting right there luring just under that plant. There's all kinds of little fish and stuff in here. And they can lure and kind of do their natural thing. I'll go over here. This tub has the little gators are hanging out inside their little tub right there. I actually moved them from the big waterland just so that I could have them closer to the house if the weather dips down too cold. When they're in that big waterland, it's almost impossible to catch them. This one, I can just pop this lid, grab them, and then when it's warm enough again, they'll go back into the bigger waterland. Let's see what else we got. Sulcutta is over here basking. I have an event on Tuesday, and I'm going to be going to a school in Asheville, North Carolina. And so I'm going to sit on this. I'm prepping to pack my car full of turtles and snakes and stuff. And I don't think the sulcutta is going to go. He's a little bit big. I only bring typically one big turtle. But I'll probably bring like a yellowfoot tortoise, soft shell, alligator snapper, and then I can bring in like a pine snake and either a corn or a king snake. Try to have a little mix, and then, you know, some baby gators and stuff. So I try to do like I either cater it to somebody that wants turtles, and I'll bring like a whole bunch of turtles, or if they just kind of want like a general reptile talk, I'll bring kind of a mix of reptiles. So that's the plan. So right now I'm getting ready for that, because tomorrow is watching my daughter all day and all night, and then Monday is going to be getting everything ready to go, and then Tuesday I have to leave like at dawn. So just getting all that stuff ready for that. Yeah, Tom, it's nice and sunny here. I mean, it looks nicer than it feels. It's still kind of chilly. Like whatever that cold front is like, you know, we're on the kind of the bottom end of it, but it's still cold. So it's like a lot of the stuff is kind of inactive. Have I found any hatchlings in the yard yet? You know, I have not yet. I've been looking, and we've had the rain, but the problem is we've had the rain every single time followed by cold. So even if they come up out of the ground, it's so cold, I think they're either staying in the ground or they're just immediately finding cover, and it's very difficult to try and find them. So yeah, it's tricky. I have some random pieces of cover. This is an area where like snakes like to come through, so I figured I'd put down some cover boards and some tin, see if I get any luck. Let's see. Oh, this one's it's too wet. I don't think this one's gonna flip. Nah, too wet under there. All right. Yeah, there's nothing more fun than having some boards to flip in your backyard, though. But I should have Gulf Coast box turtles out walking around today. Let's see. Yep, I see them. Got somebody drinking water over here. Yep, big old male Gulf right here drinking some water. What's up, Broham? How are you doing? So I think I'm gonna get with my buddy Christian, Caveman Wildlife, and I think right here, I'm gonna lay out the liner and see how much room I have. But I think I wanna build like a coastal plain pond right here. Even if it's the size of this, I would like to have like a round pond right here and then extend this. And so the Gulf Coast box turtles will have a nice big pond to kind of get in because they love the water, and then move some of my species like the Florida cooters and the Florida red bellies. Depending on size, if it's even bigger and I can get some decent filtration going, maybe also like the Florida soft shells, and have like a coastal plain focused pond, and that way it'll break up some of the bio load that I have from the other pond by my porch. And then this is underneath pine trees, so the pine needles will fall in here and it'll get that real dark tan end look. just like a pond in the coastal plain. So that's my vision. We'll see. But I've got some of that liner, I've got some of that liner. So I should have some space. And since there's not going to be snappers in here, I'm not going to have to go too crazy worrying about liner, because I also have a ton of underlayment, and I'm just going to sandwich it. I think that'll make it pretty good, and then we'll just fill it with some gravel and some sand. Big alligator snapper right here. This guy is going to be going to North Carolina with me this week. Yep, just chilling. Big Gulf Coast box turtle. These guys are big box turtles. Let's see, we'll pick them up real quick. Come here, Broham. Oh, look at that guy. He's a monster. Pretty big box turtle. This isn't even a big Gulf Coast box turtle. They get bigger than this, and I want to say the record for them was like 11 inches or something like that. I saw the shell of one at Peter Pritchard's place a few years ago that was, I mean, it was like the size of a gopher tortoise, so pretty crazy. The aquascape stream is shaping up, looking good. All the plants are coming back in. I've got like a river birch here. I think one right there. I think that's what those are called. My buddy from Audubon brought me a bunch of native plants. River oats. Ferns. There's like ferns that I didn't even plant that are now popping up everywhere, which I love. Cooter. I don't see anybody else, but everybody else is pretty good at hiding in here. Step over here. Try not to get my skate shoes all messed up. Sometimes, let's see, I have a couple eastern box turtles that just kind of roam the yard because people dump them over my fence, and because they think they're being good Samaritans getting them out of the road, but it's really not my preference. I really don't like that. Nope, nobody today. So my yard has king snakes, decays, worm snakes, rough earth snakes, or is it smooth earth snake? I can't remember. Black rat snakes, corn snakes, and when I first moved here, this neighbor's yard, they killed a northern pine snake. So what is my thought on the increased tax on foods? I mean, increased taxes on anything sucks. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it, and generally I think the idea is if you increase the taxes on things, it helps the government pay for things or provide things like infrastructure and stuff like that. But you know, with infrastructure, a lot of that's handled through like these contracts, so it's more like, you know, you've got these subcontracting companies that do all this stuff for the government, and it's like, well, they're the ones getting the money, not the person paying the taxes for it. That's my limited understanding. I don't really know a lot about politics. I hate politics. And I know people that are really passionate about them. Really hate to hear somebody say that, but I see so many people get so into it and so passionate about it, but they also end up kind of fighting and clashing with people that should be their friends or their family and disagreeing more than agreeing and not being happy. I know that's kind of a long-winded, dumb answer. Yeah, I know. I think about that, like when my daughter has like friends and, you know, they all want to like come over here and see animals and stuff. And, you know, there's always going to be the one kid that wants to get into stuff. A while ago, it was the kid across the street from me. I would see his little footprints around my fence. So it was like I could see that he was going and looking over the fence. It's a very cold Herman's tortoise. You know, and this enclosure right here, I'm thinking I'm gonna scrap it and expand this into a bigger enclosure for something else. You know, now I've only got the one Herman's in here. I parted with all the Russian tortoises, and I had one other Herman's tortoise. It's like it got to me, lived for a month or two, and then like died randomly. This one's doing great. I've had her for years. She stays outside year round, but she's kind of by herself. So I'm trying to maybe think about sending her to somebody else that has a group and where she can be with other Herman's tortoises, because they, you know, I would feel better if she got to, either produce eggs or be around other Hermans and have a better life than just kind of sitting around by herself. But she also likes interacting with me and everybody that comes over here, so she's a good tortoise. But I'm just trying to think of what's the best option for her. So you have not seen box turtles yet in Tennessee. I have not seen any in Georgia, but the population in Georgia has just been tanking. I mean, every year I see less and less eastern box turtles in Georgia. So, have I ever done school field trips to my property? I've had some homeschooled kids come over. I've done a limited amount of people coming over because, my place isn't Camp Kennan or somewhere that's big. So it's kind of small. And once you've been here for roughly an hour, you've kind of seen everything. So once kids have kind of seen everything, they get bored and then they start, like one time these kids came and started throwing rocks at all my turtles in the aquascape pond. And, I don't want to like jump onto somebody else's kid for something, but at the same time, it's like, that wasn't cool. So I'm open to it. I think I would have to have some help getting a lot more prep and everything set up a little bit better for tours, but I'm definitely open to the idea because, it's one thing to see it on a YouTube channel, but for somebody to come here and physically be in the presence of the animals is always way better. Oh, let's see if I can get her some. There was this one like little weed that she liked. I'm gonna see if I can find it for her. Let's take a look. Actually, she likes this stuff. Here you go, kiddo. Solicited last month to supply 30 to, oh, geez, man. It's crazy. I feel like it's all our turtles, but yeah, box turtles are heavy right now as far as, people poaching them or exporting them. And, so one of the hard things is like, even if somebody's doing it legally, a lot of the states allow a legal amount that's just so high that it's devastating. As I've gotten older, I've realized that in a lot of places, what seems like it would be like a huge population, the more you go back, you start realizing, like, oh, I'm seeing the same animals over and over. I'm not seeing a huge population. I just am seeing animals in the same areas all the time, and they're the same ones. And so when it comes to adults, there's a lot fewer than people think there are. And, with box turtles especially, they have home ranges and everything. And you take out those adults and ship them overseas, and then next thing you know, your population tanks and, probably can't even recover. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for being a fan from China. Hopefully things are going good for you over there. Let's see what else we can get into. Thai banana came back, overwintered just fine. Kind of surprised about that. Go hang out with this cooter. These guys do well. I never have to worry about these guys in the cold, and they're friendly. And this pond isn't even fenced, and they just kind of stick to the pond. But actually, now that my daughter's walking, I need to fence this thing. So I've got to figure out how I'm gonna build it, how I want to design it, and how I'm gonna fund fencing around a 60-something foot pond. So. He's looking at me like he's expecting something, which is kind of funny. He's like, is he gonna feed me? What is he doing? Oh, I just did my nails. Awesome. And then I like how I didn't even plant these lilies just came on their own. and they grow in the water, which I was really surprised about. But what's cool is like they make like a really kind of dense root system in that area right there. And so things like the musk turtles, whenever I have hatchling turtles in here, they go up into those roots, and it's really, really cool. And then the times when I have water snakes in here, they also get up into that. So all that stuff makes me so happy. That's like kind of a neat thing about having a pond is, you know, you got the fish or the turtles or, you know, like that looks cool, but it's all the stuff that shows up on its own and kind of takes over that you didn't do anything about. Like that's like probably the coolest part. But yeah, so all right, I'm gonna get back to organizing my thoughts and my plan for this reptile show on Tuesday. Just wanted to jump on YouTube Live, give you guys a little bit of an update of what's going on, show you a little bit of what's going on, show you that things are growing back, things are looking good, the turtles are active. And after this week, I think next week, I'm gonna try and set some traps, and we'll do like a GoPro POV trap check, first one of the year. Hopefully we get some alligator snappers and we can work those up, and I'll show you guys how I work them up, measure them, weigh them, mark them, and release them. So I will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.